Didn't the inhibitor chips force the clones to act out Order 66? Well, if so, how come so many of these guys managed to simply be built different? Is it because of malfunctions in their chips, or their own willpowers being so strong they could beat the programming? Well, today I'll be answering this question by going over every time clone troopers defied orders, with not only the ones you already know about like Rex, but also some of the more obscure ones like Captain Gray, the clone under Depa Billapa,
are you sure about that?
And also Omega Squadron from the Republic Commando books. Starting with the clone named Gray, after Captain Gray, the commander of the battalion under Depa Billapa, killed the Jedi Master after Order 66, he helped hunt down Kanan, who had help from a smuggler named Kashmir on the planet Lawn. Captain Gray and another clone trooper named Captain Styles worked together to do this. Styles reported back to Gray, informing him of Doom's capture. While transporting Caleb back to Collar aboard the Gazanti-class cruiser, Gray and Styles were finally faced with the task of putting an end to their former friend. Doom pleaded for his life, reminding the clones how much they used to look up to Master Billapa, and suggesting to them that it was Palpatine, not the Jedi, who had created the Republic when he created the Empire. While he was unable to convince the clones not to kill him, he did manage to buy enough time for Kashmir and Cleve to catch up to the Imperial freighter in an attempt to rescue him. Doom force-pushed the clones and remotely activated the airlock, escaping into the vacuum outside. After managing to return to the bridge of the freighter, Gray began to have his doubts about following Order 66, despite having sufficient firepower to destroy both the Kashmiri and Farbrooks Hope. Gray could not help but wonder why the clones had so blindly obeyed Order 66. He brought his concerns up with Styles, who disagreed, seeing the Jedi as only traitors to the Empire. When his protests went unanswered, Gray decided to shoot the ship's controls with his blaster rifle, crippling the freighter and allowing Kashmir and Cleve to destroy it, with both Gray and Styles on board. Next up, moving over to Captain Rex, him on the other hand had known of his inhibitor chip from Fives, who told him that is long before Order 66, which is why when on the Venator being used by Ahsoka in the Siege of Mandalore, known as the Tribunal, he was able to resist. Via hologram, Darth Sidious ordered all clone troopers to execute Order 66 and gave Rex special orders to execute Tano despite her no longer being a Jedi, which Rex agreed to do. Ahsoka came into the room then, feeling through the Force that something terrible had happened to Anakin. Rex, trembling, dropped his helmet, and to the Togruta's confusion, two other clones present aimed their blasters at her, prompting Rex to order them to stand down, stating that he'll execute her. However, at that moment, he remembered what Fives had been trying to tell him about the inhibitor chips, and he was briefly able to fight his programming and telling her to find him, that being Anakin, but inevitably succumbed and shot at Ahsoka. Ahsoka defended herself against Rex and the other present clones before escaping. Rex ordered the clones to hunt down Ahsoka, the captive Maul, who was also rampant on the ship, and any who opposed the clones. Ahsoka had a plan, however, and she eventually stunned Rex into unconsciousness with the help of some astromech droids, one of which was Tano's astromech that had served alongside her on many occasions in the duration of the Clone Wars. Then she would of course save him by removing his chip. So basically, Rex kind of remembered what Fives had said to him before, which allowed him a brief moment to actually resist this, which is something that some of you might have forgotten about, but that is generally the reason why he was able to. Omega Squad was an elite clone commando unit and was part of the Grand Army of the Republic during the Clone Wars. The members of this unit were brought together after each of their respective squads were killed during action at Geonosis. Unlike most other commando squads, the Omegas wore specialized night ops armor, and it was part of the Arca company of 05 Commando. And today we'll be talking about how they basically defied Order 66. As Omega returned from Har Gob, they were captured up in the Battle of Coruscant. They managed to navigate through the intense space battle and through an opening in the planet's shields. Unfortunately, a droid starfighter followed them and caused their ship to crash somewhere in Galactic City. Here, they joined the Republic forces in the area, including Yayik's squad, to repel the Separatist invasion. When Order 66 was activated, Omega did not comply, as Darman had a relationship with Jedi Knight Etain Tur Mukan. Instead, disillusioned with the guard's treatment of the clone troopers, Omega decided to desert with Kal Skirata in the Null Arcs. However, this carefully laid plans to evacuate Coruscant were jeopardized when Tur Mukan was killed at the Shinnakar Khan bridge extension, a skirmish in which Niner was also injured. Aten and Kor extracted to Mandalore with Skirata, while Darman remained with the injured Niner. Unable to rejoin their brothers due to the establishment of the Galactic Empire, Darman and Niner were forced to remain commandos. They were combined with survivors of Galar Squad. Now finishing off with Hauser, who also defied orders, we go to his Wikipedia article, which states right here towards the end of what we've seen of him, wherein the Imperial refinery was attacked by the Bad Batch with the help of Hera. Learning of the events, Hauser rushed to Rampart's office to report it to the Admiral, who ordered the captain to guard Lesu. Imperial forces deployed from the Capitol building's landing area, but Crosshair stopped his elite squad in suspicion that the Capitol was the real target. Hauser observed their shuttle from one of the building's balconies and learned of a trap that Crosshair had set in front of one of the exits with his elite squad and members of Hauser's squad. The captain then went down towards the exit and intercepted Cham and his allies, who had been rescued by two Bad Batch commandos. Hauser warned the group of Crosshair's trap and condemned the Empire's actions on Ryloth. But although Alani aided the Hauser apologized to Cham for not going against the Empire sooner, and then he exited the Capitol building before Crosshair's trap and openly defied the Empire's occupation of Ryloth, imploring his clone brothers to stand with him and do the same as he threw down his blaster carbine. 6 other clones were persuaded by Hauser's reasoning and dropped their blasters and riot shields, prompting Crosshair to order their arrests by his elite squad and the clones who were not convinced. Being handcuffed, Hauser watched as Cham and his fighters escaped with the Bad Batch on Taw's shuttle. But anyway, that's it for this video. You can subscribe if you want to. I upload videos multiple times a week, always on Friday. I also post shorts multiple times a week, always on Saturday. Also, we do a good bit of live streaming and merch as well. But yeah. See ya.